Something has been different about your cat lately, hasn't it? Maybe you can't quite name it. Maybe you've told yourself it's nothing. Just a mood, just a season, just an ordinary Tuesday. But there's a reason this video found you today, and it isn't a coincidence. Cats don't announce when something's wrong. They never have. And most owners, even the good ones, the loving ones, miss it completely, right up until it's simply too late to do much about it. Here's what makes this so hard. You know your cat's habits better than almost anyone alive. The favorite chair, the exact hour by the food bowl, the sound of paws on the hallway floor at 3 a.m. So how does something slip past someone who pays that much attention? The answer isn't carelessness, it's biology. Cats are built by instinct, over thousands of years, to hide the very thing you'd most want to know about them, without even trying to. Millions of years shaped this. In the wild, weakness meant becoming somebody else's meal, so evolution rewarded the cat who could mask pain and keep walking like nothing happened. That instinct never left. It's sitting in your living room right now, wearing a familiar face, behaving almost exactly the way it always has, except for a handful of details most people never learned to read. We're about to change that together, one small detail at a time. Sign number 1, changes in the litter box. Not just accidents outside the box, though that matters. Watch how long she lingers in there, whether he strains, whether visits become more frequent or oddly rare. Bathroom habits are among the earliest, most honest windows into a cat's body. Owners often blame a new litter brand, when the truth is simpler and less convenient. Something inside has started to change, and the box is often the first place it shows. Sign number 2, changes in appetite, in either direction. A cat eating less might be in pain, might struggle to chew, or might feel too nauseous to finish a bowl. A cat eating more, almost urgently, can be just as telling, sometimes linked to metabolism shifting in ways that quietly burn through energy faster than the body can replace it. The bowl tells a story every single day. Most of us simply aren't in the habit of reading it closely enough. Sign number 3, grooming that's changed, either far too much or barely at all. A cat licking one spot raw again and again may be soothing discomfort hiding beneath the fur. A cat who's stopped grooming altogether, coat gone dull or matted, may simply feel too worn out to keep up a ritual that once came so naturally. Grooming is control, comfort, routine. When that routine breaks, it's rarely about vanity, and almost always about something else. Sign number 4, hiding more than usual. Every cat retreats sometimes. That's simply their nature. But when the favorite windowsill sits empty for days, when the cat vanishes under the bed for hours at a stretch, something has shifted. If a video like this is helping you see your cat a little differently already, subscribe to the channel. We build these breakdowns every week, the kind most owners never get taught until it's already an emergency. Sign number 5, changes in vocalization. A quiet cat who suddenly won't stop meowing, or a chatty one gone strangely silent, both deserve a closer look. Increased crying, especially once the house goes dark, can point to discomfort or confusion that intensifies without daytime noise to mask it. We tend to blame this on age or stubbornness. In reality, the voice is often the last tool a cat has left for reaching you when nothing else seems to work. Sign number 6, changes in sleeping patterns. Cats sleep away most of their lives. That part is entirely ordinary. What isn't ordinary is a sudden shift, restless pacing at odd hours, sleeping in strange new spots, or an inability to settle no matter how soft the blanket. Broken, restless sleep in a cat rarely happens for no reason at all. It's easy to chalk it up to simply getting older, but age alone rarely explains the entire picture all by itself. Sign number 7, weight loss or gain that creeps up so gradually, nobody notices until a hand runs along the spine and finds bone where there used to be softness. Cats hide weight loss remarkably well under all that fur, and by the time it's visible to the eye, real change has usually been building for a long stretch already. A simple hands-on check, done once a month, tells you far more than any calendar or fading memory ever could. Honestly, over time. Sign number 8. A shift in how your cat moves. He hesitates before a jump he used to clear without thinking. She takes the stairs slower, pausing halfway, or skips them now entirely. We explain this away as laziness, as simply getting older, as a cat just being a cat. But stiffness, limping, or reluctance to jump are frequently the clearest physical signs of pain, written plainly across every single movement they make throughout an ordinary day. Sign number 9, changes in breathing. Easy to miss because it happens in stillness, while your cat looks perfectly at peace. Watch the rise and fall of the chest. Open mouth breathing, rapid breathing at rest, or a faint wheeze after activity are never things to wave off as nothing. The body breathes exactly the way it needs to survive. And when that rhythm shifts, it's rarely random, and almost never something worth quietly ignoring for long. And sign number 10, the one owners miss most often, withdrawal from you. Fewer head bumps against your leg, less interest in your lap during a quiet evening. A cat who used to greet you at the door now barely lifts its head. We call this getting older or growing independent. Sometimes that's true. Sometimes it's a body in genuine discomfort, slowly, quietly pulling away from a world it once visibly, genuinely loved being part of every single day. Before we go any further, one honest note. Nothing here replaces a veterinarian, and nothing in this video is meant as a diagnosis. These 10 signs are a starting point for a conversation, not an answer on their own. If any of them sound familiar, the right next step is always a vet visit, not a search engine at midnight. Consider this your permission to take a repeating pattern seriously instead of quietly dismissing it as nothing worth mentioning. Now here's the part most videos on this topic skip entirely. None of these 10 signs, taken alone, mean something is seriously wrong. A cat can hide for an afternoon. A cat can sleep oddly for a week. That's simply life, simply a living creature with moods of its own. What actually matters is the pattern. 2 or 3 of these signs showing up together, repeating, stacking up, refusing to resolve on their own after several days have already quietly passed. And this is where even devoted owners fall into a trap of their own making. We know our cats so well that we start explaining away exactly what we see. She's always been picky. He's just getting older like the rest of us. We're not wrong to think this way. We're only wrong to stop there, letting familiarity replace curiosity entirely, letting comfort replace the second, closer look that might actually reveal what's really happening underneath it all. Think about the people you've known longest in your own life. Sometimes it's easiest to miss change in the ones we know best, because the mind keeps filling in a story it already believes to be true. Cats work the same way, except they can never correct us when that story stops matching reality. All they can do is show us, in small shifts, and hope, quietly, that we're finally paying enough attention to catch it before it becomes something larger. Understanding why cats hide pain isn't about assigning blame to them or to yourself. It's about finally seeing the animal actually in front of you, not the story you've built about them over years of familiarity. Once you know the instinct is evolutionary, not personal, not a character flaw, not something you caused, it becomes far easier to simply watch for these signs without spiraling into guilt, shame, or any unnecessary fear about what it might mean. So what do you actually do with everything you've just learned? Not panic, not spiral over every small change, because cats have off days too, exactly like we do. Instead, build a simple habit. Track patterns across days and weeks, not just single, isolated moments. A quick note, even a mental one, about appetite, energy, and mood can catch a story your memory alone would otherwise let quietly slip away, entirely unnoticed, for weeks or even months. Some owners keep one line on their phone each week. Ate well, napped in the sun, seemed a little off today. It sounds almost too simple to matter, but months later, that pattern becomes a map, and that map becomes something genuinely powerful to bring along to a vet. A vague, uneasy feeling slowly turns into a clear, specific timeline. And clear timelines are what help a professional find real answers faster, with far less guesswork involved for everyone. Here's something worth knowing that most videos on this topic never mention. These 10 signs don't show up the same way in every cat. A young, healthy cat hiding under the bed for an afternoon is probably just having an off day. A cat past age 11 doing the exact same thing carries very different odds. Age changes the math entirely. And knowing your cat's stage of life is genuinely half the work of reading these signals correctly and responsibly. If you live with more than one cat, there's an extra wrinkle worth understanding. In a multi-cat household, a struggling cat will often mask symptoms even harder than usual, specifically to avoid looking vulnerable in front of the others. Owners with 2 or 3 cats sometimes miss changes for far longer, since a healthy cat's normal energy can easily make a quieter, struggling one blend into the background instead of standing out the way it should. Indoor and outdoor cats show pain differently too. Indoor cats tend to have smaller, more predictable routines, which actually works in your favor since small deviations stand out faster. Outdoor cats roam further from view, making some signs, especially appetite and litter habits, harder to track consistently. If your cat splits time between indoors and outside, the water bowl and feeding schedule become even more valuable clues than they'd otherwise be. Breed matters here too, more than most owners tend to realize. Certain breeds, like Maine Coons and British Shorthairs, tend to be naturally stoic, almost built for enduring discomfort quietly, without complaint. Others, like Siamese cats, tend to be far more vocal by nature, which can actually work in your favor, since a shift towards silence in a normally loud, talkative cat is often easier to catch than subtle changes in a breed that rarely speaks up. There's also a common mistake worth naming directly: blaming every behavior change on a recent move, a new pet, or a shift in routine. Sometimes that really is the actual cause, and cats are famously, notoriously sensitive to any disruption in their routine. But this is also the easiest explanation to reach for, and it can quietly delay a vet visit for weeks if the real underlying cause turns out to be medical rather than emotional or environmental. So, how do you tell the difference between stress and something physical? Stress-related changes typically ease within a week or so once the disruption settles. The new furniture gets sniffed enough. The new pet becomes familiar. Physical changes tend to persist or worsen, regardless of how calm the household becomes. If 2 weeks pass with no real improvement, that's usually your signal to stop waiting and start asking a professional some real questions. Timing matters more than most owners think. A single instance of any sign rarely means much on its own, but if a sign lasts more than 48 hours, or if 2 separate signs show up within the same week, that combination is worth writing down and mentioning at your next appointment. Vets consistently say that timing details, even more than the specific symptoms themselves, often point them toward the right diagnostic next step to actually take. Here's a practical question many owners never think to ask themselves. When did I last actually pick up my cat and feel their body, not just watch them from across the room? Visual observation from across a room misses weight changes that a simple, gentle hold catches almost instantly, every time. If it's genuinely been months since you last did this, that alone is worth changing starting today, regardless of whether anything currently seems wrong at all. Seasonal changes complicate things further. Cats often eat and drink differently between summer and winter, sleep more during colder months, and groom slightly less when temperatures drop. None of that is unusual on its own. The key is always comparing this season to that exact same season last year, not comparing summer behavior directly to winter behavior and assuming something has gone wrong, when really, it's simply the calendar quietly shifting. Put this together and a clearer picture forms. Age, household size, indoor or outdoor access, breed tendencies, and recent home changes all shape how these signs show up in your specific cat. There's no single formula that fits every cat, only a useful starting framework to build from. The real lasting skill is learning to read your own cat against their own personal baseline, not against some generic checklist that was never built specifically for them. Once you've noticed a pattern worth mentioning, how you present it to a vet actually changes the outcome. Vague statements like, "He's been acting weird," give a vet very little to work with. Specific ones like, "He's been hiding since Tuesday and skipped 2 meals," give them an actual starting point. The goal isn't to self-diagnose. It's to hand over clear, dated, specific observations that a trained professional can actually build a real diagnosis on. Consider bringing a written timeline to the appointment instead of trying to remember everything under pressure in the room. Even 3 or 4 bullet points help. When the sign started, how often it happens, whether it's getting better, worse, or staying the same. Vets see dozens of patients every single day. A clear, brief timeline often gets you a faster, more accurate answer than an anxious, scattered retelling pieced together from memory alone. There are a few questions worth asking directly at any appointment like this. Is this something we should test for now? Or is watching for another week reasonable? What would make this urgent instead of routine? Are there specific at-home signs I should track between now and our next scheduled visit? Vets generally welcome these kinds of questions, since they help clarify exactly what kind of case they're actually dealing with, right from the start. It's worth knowing the difference between something that can wait and something that genuinely can't. Repeated vomiting, inability to urinate, open-mouth breathing, or sudden collapse are never wait-and-see situations. They call for same-day care. Most of the 10 signs we covered earlier are slower and far quieter than that, which is exactly what makes them easy to miss, but rarely urgent enough to require a same-night emergency visit right away. Cost is a real factor for a lot of owners, and pretending otherwise doesn't help anyone. Pet insurance, if you already have it, is worth reviewing now, well before anything comes up, so you're not learning the fine print during an already stressful moment. If insurance genuinely isn't an option for your household, some clinics offer payment plans or tiered testing instead, starting with the basics before moving toward more expensive diagnostics later on. If the answer you get from a vet visit still doesn't sit right with you, a second opinion is always a reasonable next step, not something to feel guilty about pursuing. Cats can't advocate for themselves, which means that responsibility quietly falls to you. Trusting your own read on your cat, even after a professional visit, isn't second-guessing anyone's expertise. It's simply continuing the same steady attention you've already been giving all along. A few simple tools at home make ongoing monitoring easier without turning your living room into a clinic. A basic kitchen scale can track weight month to month far more precisely than simply eyeballing it ever could. Some owners keep a small notebook by the litter box just to jot down frequency. None of this needs to be elaborate or expensive. Consistency matters far more than sophistication when it comes to catching real change early enough to act. The vet visit itself can be its own source of stress for a cat, which sometimes skews behavior and makes symptoms harder to read accurately. A carrier left out at home for several days beforehand, rather than appearing only on the day of travel, genuinely tends to reduce travel day anxiety. A calm 10-minute car ride before an appointment, whenever that's possible, can also make a genuine difference in how your cat presents once you're finally there. If blood work does get ordered at some point, it's helpful to broadly know what's being checked, even without needing to interpret any of it yourself. Kidney and liver values, thyroid levels, and blood cell counts are common starting points for the kinds of subtle signs discussed here. None of these numbers mean much without a vet's trained interpretation, but understanding the broad categories helps the conversation feel less like a foreign language. All of this, the timeline, the right questions, the simple tools at home, exists for one simple reason: to close the gap between noticing something and actually doing something useful about it. Awareness without any real next step tends to quietly fade into vague, unproductive background worry over time. A plan, even a simple one, turns that same awareness into something you can genuinely act on the next time your cat quietly needs you to step in. Here's a habit most owners never think to try. Take a photo of your cat once a month, same angle, same lighting, ideally from above looking down at their back and sides. Weight loss is notoriously hard to see day to day, but comparing a photo from January to one from June often reveals a change the mirror of daily life completely hides. Phones already do this for free. It just takes remembering to actually use them for something other than snapshots. Physical environment matters more than most owners realize once a cat starts aging. A litter box with high sides can quietly become a barrier for stiff joints, discouraging use in a way that looks like a behavior problem but is really a mobility one. Lowering the entry height or adding a small ramp toward a favorite window perch can resolve what looked like a mystery symptom without a single trip to the vet. It rarely costs more than a few minutes. Sleep surfaces deserve a second look too. A cat with early joint stiffness may quietly avoid a firm dog bed or a cold tile floor in favor of somewhere softer, even if that means a less convenient spot for you. A simple heated pad or an orthopedic-style cushion placed in a favorite location sometimes resolves restlessness that looked, at first glance, like something far more serious than it actually was. Small changes like this quietly add up over months. Consider building a simple one-page file for your cat. Vet contact information, vaccination history, current weight, any known allergies, and medication doses if applicable. This takes roughly 15 minutes to put together once, and it saves real time later, whether you're facing an emergency, switching vets, or asking a pet sitter to step in while you're traveling somewhere unfamiliar. That small, one-time effort holds real, lasting value for years. Consistent feeding times do more than keep a routine. They make deviations obvious almost instantly. A cat who eats at 7 every morning skipping breakfast stands out immediately. A cat on a loose, unpredictable schedule makes the exact same skipped meal far easier to miss entirely. Consistency isn't just kindness here. It's a genuinely useful, practical diagnostic tool hiding in plain sight, every single day. That kind of consistency pays off later. If you share a home with a partner, roommate, or family member, a 2-minute conversation can double your coverage without any extra effort. Simply mentioning, "Hey, has she seemed off to you too?" turns one person's half-formed suspicion into shared confirmed observation. Two people independently noticing the exact same thing is far more reliable than one person quietly wondering about it alone for weeks. Shared attention beats one tired set of eyes. There's an important difference between vigilance and anxiety, and it's worth naming clearly. Vigilance checks in, gathers information, and moves on with your day. Anxiety replays the same worry on a loop without ever actually resolving anything useful. If checking on your cat starts to feel like dread rather than simple, ordinary care, that's genuinely worth noticing in yourself, not only in them. That distinction matters for your own well-being, too. Build in a deliberate reset after each check. If nothing seems wrong, actually let that be enough for today, rather than quietly carrying leftover worry into tomorrow. Cats live remarkably well without dwelling on yesterday's problems for very long. Borrowing a little of that rhythm, checking, then genuinely releasing it, tends to make this practice sustainable for years instead of exhausting after weeks. That release matters just as much as checking. One more small habit worth building. Get your cat comfortable with being handled regularly. Paws touched, mouth gently opened, ears looked at, even when nothing seems wrong. Cats who experience this at home tend to tolerate an actual vet exam far better, which means the vet gets a calmer, more accurate read, and your cat experiences noticeably less stress throughout the entire process. That everyday comfort transfers directly into the exam room later. Put together, these habits, the photos, the environment checks, the shared observation, the healthy boundary between vigilance and anxiety, do something simple but powerful. They turn a single video's worth of information into an ongoing system. Now let's carefully connect these 10 signs to what might actually be happening inside the body, without ever turning any of it into a diagnosis of our own. Let's take a careful, honest look at that together next. Let's go back to that litter box sign for a moment carefully. In some older cats, litter box changes can sometimes be associated with kidney function shifting over time, one possible factor among several. But plenty of other things can cause the exact same behavior too, from stress to a simple urinary tract issue. Only blood work and a urine test can actually tell a vet what's really going on here, not a video like this one. Not a guess made from a screen. Increased thirst sometimes shows up alongside those litter box changes, and it's worth mentioning to a vet if you notice both together. It doesn't confirm any specific condition on its own. Plenty of things can drive increased thirst, including simple weather changes or diet. It's simply a detail worth reporting to a professional, not a conclusion worth reaching alone at home, no matter how tempting that feels in the moment. Nothing more, nothing less. That odd combination we mentioned earlier, eating more while somehow losing weight, can sometimes be associated with metabolism-related changes, thyroid activity being one possible factor among a few. It's also seen with several other conditions entirely unrelated to the thyroid. This is exactly the kind of pattern where a simple blood panel gives a real, reliable answer. Far more trustworthy than any pattern matching done from a description alone. Excessive licking in one spot can sometimes point toward joint discomfort in certain cats, particularly older ones, but it's just one possible explanation among many. Skin irritation, allergies, and stress-related overgrooming can all look remarkably similar from the outside. A vet actually examining the specific spot, the skin underneath, and your cat's full medical history is really the only reliable way to narrow down what's genuinely happening here. Hiding connects to a broad category of things rather than one specific cause. Pain, nausea, unfamiliar stress, or simply not feeling like themselves can all trigger the exact same instinct to retreat somewhere quiet. That's precisely why hiding alone, without other signs alongside it, rarely tells a vet much on its own. It's a signal genuinely worth watching closely and reporting honestly, not a symptom that points cleanly toward one single explanation. Nighttime crying is sometimes mentioned by owners of older cats alongside cognitive changes, but hearing loss, thyroid activity, anxiety, and even pain can all produce something that sounds remarkably similar from another room. This is genuinely one of the harder signs to interpret without professional input, since so many entirely different things can lead to that same nighttime sound. Only a vet visit really clarifies which factor, if any, applies here. Disrupted sleep can sometimes overlap with several of the factors we've already mentioned: discomfort, cognitive changes, or simply a shift in the home environment throwing off routine. There's rarely one single, clean explanation here. What actually helps a vet the most is knowing exactly when the change started and whether anything else in the household changed around that same general time period. That single detail helps more than it might seem. Weight changes in either direction can tie back to a wide range of possible factors. Appetite, activity level, metabolism, and several organ systems all play some role. This is exactly why that monthly hands-on check we mentioned earlier matters so much. It won't tell you the actual cause. Only a vet and proper testing can genuinely do that. But it will tell you that something has genuinely changed, which is worth mentioning at your next scheduled visit. Mobility changes and breathing changes are sometimes associated with joint issues or heart-related factors, among several other possible explanations a vet would consider. Neither one confirms anything on its own, and jumping straight to the most serious possibility rarely helps anyone. What matters most is bringing the specific pattern you've personally noticed to a trained professional, rather than trying to solve it yourself from a screen at home. And that quiet withdrawal we discussed, more often than not, it isn't really its own separate sign at all. It's usually just what happens when a body doesn't feel entirely like itself, for any one of the reasons we've walked through today. None of this is meant to diagnose your cat from a video. It's meant to help you notice sooner and bring the right specific details to someone properly trained to help. None of this replaces an actual veterinary exam. Now, before we keep going, if you've made it this far in the video with us, thank you for genuinely being here today. I'd love to invite you to subscribe to the channel and join us here every day because we cover topics exactly like this one, the quiet, easy-to-miss details that make such a real difference in the lives of the cats we love. It costs nothing at all, and it genuinely means a great deal to us as we keep making videos exactly like this one. And honestly, if you're the kind of person who watched all the way to this point, taking notes, thinking about your own cat somewhere in the house right now, you're exactly who this channel is built for. Not the owner looking for a quick fix, but the one who genuinely wants to understand, who wants to do right by an animal that gave them years of quiet companionship, without ever once asking for very much of anything meaningful in return at all. Not really. So let's bring this back to where it matters most. Your own home, your own cat, right here, right now. We've talked about signs, about conditions, about the quiet ways the body speaks when words aren't available to use. But underneath all of it is a simpler truth worth sitting with. Your cat has been trusting you this entire time to notice, because noticing is the one thing they cannot do for themselves. That trust deserves something back from us. Here's something worth carrying with you long after this video ends today. Every single one of these 10 signs, taken alone, might mean nothing at all, truly nothing. But together, layered, repeated, persistent, they form a pattern no cat can fake and no owner should ignore. The goal was never to make you afraid of your own cat's health. The goal was to hand you a clearer, steadier lens, one that turns vague worry into real, useful understanding instead. Think back now to the very beginning of this video, to that quiet claim that your cat might already be trying to tell you something important. Maybe, watching now, you already have an answer forming in your mind. Maybe it's nothing, just an ordinary cat living an ordinary life. Or maybe it's something small enough to still act on today, before it grows into something larger down the road. Either way, now you know something you didn't quite know before. That's really the quiet power of information like this one. It doesn't change your cat. It changes you, the way you watch, the way you notice, the way you sit with them in the evening and actually see what's in front of you, instead of simply assuming everything is fine because it was fine yesterday and the day before that too. Attention, given consistently over time, is its own quiet form of devotion, rarely announced, but always quietly, deeply felt. And if there's one thing worth remembering above everything else we've discussed today, it's this. Cats don't need grand gestures of love at all. They need presence. They need someone willing to notice the small shift in how they walk across the room, the extra minute spent by the water bowl, the quiet retreat to a spot they never used to choose before. That noticing, offered patiently, day after day, is love in its most practical, honest, everyday form. So here's what I'll leave you with as we head toward the end of this video together today. Go check on your cat soon, not out of fear, but out of the quiet curiosity we've built together over the last several minutes. Notice what's ordinary. Notice what's new. And trust that whatever you find or don't find, you're already doing something most owners never even think to do, actually paying attention, on purpose, consistently, day after ordinary day. Before we close, I want to genuinely thank you for spending this time with us today, learning something that could quietly matter more than either of us realizes right now. This channel exists because of people exactly like you. People who care enough to sit through 45 minutes learning to read the silence their cat has been speaking in all along. That kind of care doesn't go unnoticed, not by us, and not by the cat depending quietly on you. Now, as we move toward the final stretch of this video, let's bring everything full circle, back to where we started, back to that quiet promise that you'd never look at your cat the same way again after today. Because by now, you probably don't. You've learned to read a language that was always there, always spoken, simply waiting patiently, quietly, For someone willing enough to finally listen closely and truly hear what it's been saying all along. 10 signs. That's what we set out to find today, and that's what we found together, one quiet detail at a time. But if you strip away the list, the categories, the explanations, what remains is something simpler than all of it. Your cat has always been speaking to you, never in words, but in the small, honest language of behavior. The only question left was ever whether someone was willing to listen closely enough to finally, truly hear all of it. You are. That much is clear simply by how far you've come with us today. Not everyone sits through 45 minutes learning to notice a slightly slower jump, a quieter meal, a longer stretch of solitude behind the couch. You did. And that says something about the kind of attention you're capable of giving an animal who has spent years giving you their own quiet, uncomplicated loyalty in return, without ever once asking for very much in return. So let this be less of an ending and more of a beginning, the start of a habit rather than a single afternoon of concern. Watch tomorrow the way you'll watch tonight. Watch next month the way you watch today. Just steadily, the way anyone pays attention to something they've decided truly matters to them. That steadiness, over time, becomes its own quiet form of protection. One small, quiet glance at a time. One ordinary day after the next, without fail. And if today's video sparked even a flicker of recognition, even one small moment where you thought, wait, that sounds familiar? Don't let that flicker fade into the background noise of an ordinary evening. Write it down. Watch a little closer this week. Trust that quiet instinct, the one that's been with you the whole time, long before this video ever gave it a name or a real reason to finally, clearly speak up about what you'd quietly noticed all along. If this video meant something to you, if even one part of it made you think differently about the cat resting somewhere in your home right now, I'd genuinely appreciate it if you shared it with 5 people who might need to hear it too. A neighbor, a sibling, an old friend who's had the same cat for 12 quiet years. Sometimes the most important things we ever learn come from someone simply choosing to pass them along to someone else who needed it. And if you haven't already, subscribe to this channel and join us here again. Because there's always more worth understanding about the animals sharing our homes and our lives. More quiet signs, more small truths that deserve a closer look than we usually give them credit for. We're genuinely here for exactly that kind of thing. Consistently, one honest video at a time, and we'd genuinely, truly love to have you back here with us again very soon. Before you go, I'd love to hear from you honestly in the comments below. Did any of these 10 signs sound familiar to you? Is there something you noticed while watching this that you hadn't quite put into words before today? And what would you like us to cover next? What quiet question about your cat has been sitting in the back of your mind, waiting patiently for someone to finally address it clearly, honestly, and without any judgment at all? For once, your comments genuinely shape what we make next. More than you might realize sitting there watching this right now. This channel grows because people like you tell us what still feels unclear, what still keeps you wondering late into the evening. So don't hold back. Whatever crossed your mind during this video, however small it feels, it's probably exactly the kind of thing another cat owner out there quietly, genuinely needs to hear right now, today. So go check on your cat now. Not out of worry, but out of the quiet attentiveness this video was always meant to leave you with. Notice the way they're breathing. Notice the way they're resting. Notice, simply, because you finally know how, and because noticing, offered consistently, is the truest, simplest form of care an animal without words could ever hope to receive from someone who genuinely, deeply loves them this much, quietly, every single day. Some things are never said out loud. They're simply noticed, quietly, day after day, by someone paying close enough attention to catch them. That's what this video was really about, underneath the list, underneath the signs. Not fear, just attention, finally given the weight it deserves. Thank you genuinely for spending this time with us today. We'll see you again in the next one. watching your own cat a little closer than you did before this one.